Hey, 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 hey. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah. Hello. Hello. So we have a new release out in case you didn't notice, but I guess you did. And The new release is 0742. Yeah, some good stuff. We did a significant upgrade of many textures in the game. So we added about 300 megabytes of, or more, yeah, about 300 megabytes of textures, upgrading the existing ones and making them in certain case, most of the cases like 4 times the resolution. So the walls, the streets, the object, I mean, they should be way more defined and crisp compared to the past. We really had some old textures in our game. I mean, some textures were ridiculously low, right? Like 128 by 256, right? So that nowadays there's pretty much an icon and not a texture. But yeah, we improved it. So we improved in particular 2 areas. So one which is under the main city, and another one which is a city itself, which is the city of the flying people. And and also we have a number of other updates, including the new maps. So now if you go in the compendium in game, you can see new maps for each major areas of the game. Hello, Yuan. You will destroy everything? Okay. In only 1 minute you create games? What do you mean? Our game is released. You can go under our website, which is planeshift.it, and you can click on download and just download it and try it out. It's a free game. You can play it for free. And yeah, this is a screenshot of a kind of a new NPC in a new area. Well, it's not exactly a new area, but it's an area that we like improved. And you can see here the new textures already, right? I think it shows that is a bit better than, I mean, it's definitely better than the past. I mean, in the past, this wall was very low resolution. You can still see a bit of the low resolution, like for example here on this lamp, right? This area is a bit lower resolution, but yeah, I think overall I'm very happy about the upgrades. Obviously, a lot of this geometry would also require and need an update, but yeah, that's probably for another release, right? So one thing, so now that we have this release out, right, I advertised it a bit, so I sent few messages on different discords and such. Now I didn't really advertise it on say gaming websites, but maybe I will do it. I think this release is solid enough at the moment. Let me check again now, but at the moment, I think we don't have any crash. Let me see. No, we don't have any crashes since the release. I only crashed it 1 time myself when I try to generate more rare rooms in the generated dungeon, but at the moment we have 0 crashes, which is good. So the server is running well and everything seems to be in order. So what we need to think is, okay, what do we do for the next release, right? So what do we want to develop? And we did a poll, right, on now the poll is not including every possible development, but we did a poll on our Discord, and you can still vote if you go there. There is a section called polls, and let me copy this image. Yep, this one we can save, we don't need it anymore. Everything is done for the new release. Fantastic. And yeah. So this is a list of all the possible areas, right, that we may work on. And I have to take a, you know, I have to really think about it deeply, because we need to decide which one it is, right? Which one is the next. So this at the top is what we have, and this is what we can do next on the same area, right? So for example, this is the area of roleplay, character customization, progression, exploration, right? So I divided it in this kind of these areas, and then I asked the people to vote, right? And the one that got more votes, I mean, I asked the people on Discord to vote, and I asked the people on Patreon to vote, right? Let me switch layout meanwhile. Hide that and change the music. And change the music. Done. Yeah, so I asked the people on Patreon to vote, and the people on Discord to vote. And again, if you still want, I mean, if you want to vote, the vote is still open. So let me see on Discord. On Discord, we got the majority of the votes with a pretty good lead compared to the others for G and D. Okay, for G and D. So G is actually the one that I already developed for this release, right? So this is the reason why I developed it, but also because I wanted to. But this one is the one that got the majority of the votes. And actually now we have it in game. So I think it's good. I don't know if I want to do more for the maps. I think that the only thing that I have to ensure is that the maps are actually containing all the NPC that we want, right? Yeah. That is what I need to do, is more of a data thing. The other one that won a lot was this one. So it was main storyline, right? This one is the majority of the votes together with G. So the main storyline means to evolve the plot, the main plot. So to have basically one storyline that is guiding you or taking you by hand, right? And bringing you to, I would say, know better our universe, know better our races, know better our history and such, right? So a path that guides you through possibly, you know, an inspiring explorational, emotional journey, right? Which is not that easy, right? But that should be the goal, right? So it's something that makes you even more knowledgeable about our world, right? And I think there is a good aim, right? This one is a good aim. I think it's a good goal. I like it. I want it. And I think that I can work on this next. But I have to think about it a bit, because this requires quite a bit of storytelling. And I have some storytelling skills for sure, but not too much in English, right? So like my speed on, you know, writing things in English compared to maybe writing them in Italian. But even in Italian, I would say I'm not, you know, an expert writer, right? And so it may take me way more time than maybe someone that is more talented in that area. But still, I think it's a very important discussion. One of the problems of doing this on live streaming obviously will be a bit of the spoilers, right? Because it means that if I have to invent some storyline, you will have to to listen to the storyline before playing it, right? And that's a bit so-so, but the next one voted is I, which is this one. So basically to make the monsters better, right? Today some of our monsters are a bit broken, they don't fully work well. I mean, they kind of work, but they are not the greatest, I would say. There is a good goal as well, but I think this goal is mostly contributing to more of an action RPG kind of feeling, right? While we would like to be more roleplay and less, you know, hack and slash or action RPG, right? Just because I think that nowadays in every RPG game that I see, there is so little RP and so much everything else, right? So most of the time in games you are fighting monsters, right, here or there, and raiding dungeons and doing things like that, which is fun. I like it. I really like it myself, right? I mean, I'm a Diablo player and I like Diablo and everything. So, but at the same time, I think we should differentiate a bit ourselves and avoid to have just a pure, you know, combat game. But yes, people. So these are the three top really on Discord. Now the next one, the fourth one, let's say, is quite down and is together with a bunch of others. Which is B, right? This is kind of the second priority somehow, if you will, which is B. B, Q, and the rest is pretty much nothing. No, sorry, Q, not O. So Q is more about the inventory, the pets, growing their abilities, which I really like as well. So this is a bit what was the voting, right, on Discord. Now, on Patreon we have less people, so the votes are definitely less, which is normal. And so some of the so the majority of the answers, you know, I have like 2, 3, 4 votes, right? So the votes are pretty equally distributed. Let me see, I'm having here on the other screen. So on Patreon, let me do it in blue maybe. On Patreon, the one that took most of the votes is actually character customization. So this one, right? And following, there are 1, 2, 3 areas which pretty much have the same number of votes, which are the main storyline, right? And consider that some of the people may be the same ones, right? They may be the same people that are voting on Discord and on Patreon. So there may be a bit of a double counting. Hello, Hula. Good evening. Good afternoon. So they voted like that. Main storyline, player housing. I don't even know where I have it here. I see it. E. Player housing and main storyline, player housing, and then improving combat monsters. So this one, right? Yeah, so the indication seems to be fairly clear. The indication from the people seems to be fairly clear that they would like to have a better storyline, right? Better storyline. So I think number D. I think that D. Consider again that some of the Patreons for sure are also on Discord and vice versa, so they are voting the same in both places. But still, It looks like D may be the one that I should work on, right? And I as well. The problem of I again is that I'm not very passionate about it, right? So I don't know if I really like to make, a month effort, to improve combat, right? So I don't know. I would be more interested maybe in improving some special abilities, right? They can be connected to combat, but some special abilities that allow, or maybe some special ability that allow you like to search for, I don't know, special item, hidden item, rare items, whatever, right? Crafting, I mean, things like that. I'm more interested into that. But no one voted, very few voted for crafting mini games. And I agree. I think the mini games is a kind of a good idea in theory, but then in practice it's very hard to make and very hard to make it fun. So probably, I mean, we spent some time on it. If you remember, we spent time on mini games. We make some prototypes. We try to understand what was the art of the possible, and we even created a kind of a slice fruit mini game that was working pretty much okay. But I don't know if I like that too much. Yeah. So for the people here in the chat, what do you think? I think the main storyline is probably a good point, right? The main storyline is a good point, and the main storyline is really related to faction progression, right? Which is this part, right? Faction progression. It is connected because I think some of the storyline needs to go through the factions. Just because the factions are the main organization and associations in the world, right? That have knowledge and power and money and influence, and so that the most charismatic, the more influential people are inside the factions. And so if you want to create a main storyline, we have to look at them for sure, right? So I think that doing D means also doing C somehow, right? I think they are strongly connected. Now, the way I see, if you ask me, how do you see the main plot, right? How do I see the main plot? Is there a way to change, by the way, the default color of paint to be something else or not? Let me see if we can. Maybe there is a way to do it. Windows Paint change default colors. Maybe it's an entry in the registry somewhere. No one replied. Zero answers. Zero answers. Unfortunately, no. There is no way to do this. No! More accurately, there is no way to do this without modifying the paint executable binary. Yes, can we change the paint executable binary? Please. Please, let's hack into paint. Please. No. It's not possible. Fuck. It's not possible. Wait. No. That is how to do it in C++ for...
I will find a way to set things right.
Yeah, I can try, but at the moment I cannot. It seems it's impossible. Seems is impossible. Classic MS Paint revived. What do you mean? 3 months ago? What is this guy doing? This guy remade the original Paint. Oh my god, why? I mean, why? Why? Okay, anyway, he did it. He did it. No, it's not possible. It seems to be not possible. I don't know, maybe you can hack the exe and you can change the executable somehow, right? And because he's reading those colors for sure somewhere. But okay, GG. We will change the colors for the rest of our life until they make a better painter. Actually, there is the new paint, but the new paint sucks. There is this paint 3D, right? But it's so bad in any possible way compared to the old one. Maybe I mean, in terms of brush style, is definitely better, right? So the brush is very nice, and is you see, is kind of pressure, and so that is very cool. But if you then want to just change the colors, move stuff. I mean, it's kind of harder. I mean, I don't know. It's a long time I don't test it, right? Maybe I should test it more. Maybe it improved actually. Like I see now that the selection is way better than it was. Let me see if he has a snap. Yeah, he has a snap. That's very nice. I don't know, we can try to use this for a bit, but I remember there were some issues, right? So it was not doing something. I don't know what. He was not doing something. Let me think about it. What it was? It probably didn't have the. It did not have an easy ability to. Let me see, to put the text. Or what? No, this seems to be identical. This seems to actually be pretty much identical. Can I put some text, please? What is going on? Cannot anymore. No. What happened? Why I cannot put any text anymore? Why I cannot type anymore? I don't know, something happened and became GG. I think it improved a bit since the last time I saw it. Should we use it? I remember I was not capable. I mean, it was something missing. I don't remember what. Maybe the arrows and maybe this palette of things. Let me see. Stickers. Okay, stickers. He has stupid stickers. 2D shapes. The arrow. No, the arrow seems to be there with no problem. Can rotate it easily. Now you cannot really. You don't have an arrow. You cannot pre-select the right arrow, left arrow, bottom arrow. Okay, but you have these things anyway. You can also have a line like the old one, because the old one also had the line, right? But actually it's not that bad. Actually, apart from the fact that I cannot type any text anymore, I don't know why. Why the text is not working anymore, huh? I cannot type. I can put this, but I cannot type text. Maybe I have to select this. You have to select that because it can be 2D text or 3D text. Okay, I see. Edit color selection. Do we have the fill effect though? Please, the fill effect is here. It doesn't seem to be too bad, huh? But this is the problem. That when you select, wait a second. When you select, right? If I have a piece of everything, do I actually move it? Yeah, I actually move it. Okay, nice. Do I have the background color and the main color or not? I don't remember what was the issue, right? What was the issue, guys? What was the issue? Probably the issue was this, that object were not flattened, right? So that, like, if you want to delete, right, you delete on each separate object. Like here, for whatever reason, this object is separate from everything else. Right? Like, for example, why the hell now this is, you see, that is on top. Make sticker, multi-select, paste, delete. Select all the objects. How do I make this a normal? If I do paste, no, paste doesn't work. Yeah, because this is a separate object, right, at the moment. How do I make this object? How do I just paste this object on the background so that it becomes maybe canvas? Show canvas. Yeah, exactly. How do I merge all? Rotate and flip. Yeah, you see, it's like if these two now are two separate canvases. I think I created it when I said make sticker, so in theory, normally should not happen, right? Normally should not happen. But here we have the same problem though, because I have every time to go bucket, black, and do this, right? I have to do it every single time. They don't understand the question. They don't understand the question. Select start setting personalization. Nah, but it's not in Paint. I think it's not possible. Okay, anyway, sorry, I went into a... okay, let's try to use this one a bit. Maybe improved enough to be usable. What I wanted to say is that how do I see the main plot, right? The way I see the main plot is... the way I see the main plot, right, is really the introduction, right? So you start with the intro, which is the homeward intro. Yeah, now if you have a black background, obviously everything is fucked. So the homeworld intro, right? And this one is a bit of the beginning of everything. And the idea was that in the home world, and I think I also expressed it into, I think we have a document for this. Yeah, exactly. This. So this was the idea, you know, of potential items that the race. Hello, Fanner. How did you manage to paint to write in purple? That's pretty good. That's pretty good skill to have. So basically, the idea would be that every race, you know, every race is bringing something to. Every race is bringing something to Iliacum, right? And we have to understand exactly if what they are bringing is always, I mean, if it's just brought by the original, you know, ancestors, like the first guy that came through the portal, or if it's just, you know, like a race, say race asset, right? Just luck. Okay. I see it in purple. Do you see it in purple on the stream as well? It's kind of weird. Yes, it's in purple as well. So basically every race, right, could bring something, right? Could bring something to the world. And then the idea is that that item or knowledge or whatever it is, you know, it contributes to advance the main story, right? So that is kind of the idea that I had originally, right? And I think we can still use it. For example, in the Ilian history, there is the description of this great turquoise, which is a magical stone that has divination properties and allows the Ilian basically to find their way out of the complex, you know, challenges that the gods put them in. And using me, okay, right, becomes purple for some reason. That's interesting. So, but the point is that I think discovering, right, discovering that your race brought that particular item to the world, I think it should be a series of quests by itself, right? I think. I'm just experimenting a bit with all these new toys. Yeah, there is stuff that you couldn't do that well in the old paint, even if you had. I mean, you already had a number of brushes, right? So in theory, you also had this here. We basically never used it, but yeah, it's just less quality, but you see, because it's a bit less anti-alias. But in theory, we had that already in the old one. It's just that we didn't use it enough. Ah! Don't do that again. But yeah, we cannot set the background color also in the 3D and on the in this one, so it's pretty much the same. I think it's pretty much the same using the two at this point, because these are new tools, yes, and they are also nicely laid out, but pretty much is exactly the same. What this is doing in addition is the 3D view, right? So that you can actually make this 3D, and yeah, and then on 3D you can add, you know, oh wow, you have dinosaurs. Oh my god, seriously? Do you really have dinosaurs? That is fantastic. Oh my god, is it really in 3D? Holy shit. Oh wow. Holy. Oh wow. I didn't know this. Oh my god, dinosaurs are so nice. I love dinosaurs. How many? How many dinosaurs? Oh my god, it is me. This is basically me. Oh wow. Look at that. Look at that. Huh. Look at this. I mean, it's not very, I don't know, it's not very useful at the end. I mean, okay, I mean, I'm having the dog model, but whenever I'm gonna use a dog model in 3D in a picture, right, I don't know. I mean... Don't do it! Can we have this guy actually riding the... yeah. This dinosaur is actually on top of this tiger. In reality it's not, but looks like. Yeah, but anyway. So the idea would be... No, well, the idea would be, okay, I already dislike it. It's too much. We don't need it. It's too much. But it's very nice. Dinosaurs are insane. So the point is, if we have our homeworld, intro, and every race is bringing something to the table, right? And we develop, and maybe we develop, and maybe we develop a small, well, not a small, but we develop a quest, you know, chain for each race, right? We develop a quest chain for each race, and at the end of the chain of the race, what I would like you to know is I would like you to have better knowledge of the race itself, and maybe discover that item. I don't know if I want you to discover the item itself, right? Or if I want you to discover maybe a notable person that actually has access to that item, which I think will be better, right? Because like the Great Turquoise, right, we can say, so we have to understand how that Great Turquoise went through. And we may have a name of a guy, right, that actually brought it in. Now we will have to understand from the history if that guy is still alive, or if that has been maybe passed to someone else. $450. 450, 472. So pretty much 450, the gods are going away. And so we have 742. 750. 750. Yeah, pretty much, you know, the playable time is 750, which is actually fairly deep. Because it's like 75 more years. So 75 more years. I will have to read this again. I mean, I will have to read again all the history of all the races and understand them better again, because oh fuck! It is still saying Diaboli not playable race. I have to change this. I have to change this right now, because now is the opposite. Let me do that change now. Is the Inno now that is non-playable race? Yeah, I think working on the... I'm just brainstorming here, guys, but I think working on the... You are hearing some static? Let me disconnect the microphone. Is it better or worse? Uh-oh. Wow. Windows Explorer crashed. Insane. That's an event. Windows Explorer crashed. Freaking insane. Okay, we have to change this. We have to change this right now. So the wall, I think the wall inun section will go down. Right. And the wall diagonally will go up. It was where it was before the. Are they alphabetically ordered? How they are ordered? I have no idea. They are just randomly ordered, probably. Anyway, it was after the Enkidukai. Okay. I have to change that because that is also something that changed when we decided to do the switch between the two. Okay, I changed it. I don't know, it was an overlook. I forgot to switch it, right? Forgot to switch it completely. The making sure study pop up every so often. Sounds good now. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm thinking is to because I don't know if it should be this way, but I think it would be nice if it would be this way, right? To have a race history chain line quest chain, right? I think it would be nice. The problem is that doing one for every race, considering we have 9 races, is quite an effort, right? Because it means to have, if you want a chain to have at least, I don't know, 4 or 5 quests, right? There's like 50 quests or so. So, I don't know if we already have some. I think we had some in the past, but there was originally there was an idea to have a racial quest, but I think then we deleted that. We didn't. I think they are called, I found them, they are called cultural null 3, for example, right? There is one quest, it's called an unclear message. That is actually a cultural quest. We have 1, 2, 3. We actually have a few. We have 3 for the Nolthrir and 1 for the Enki. The problem is that they are. Let me read it 1 second. Let me read this quest a second to understand. I'm going to take a shower. Okay, bye. Goodbye, fan. I'll see you later. You try to find information about. I'm reading the quest quickly. The problem is that the quest is like 20 pages. But like this quest is now this quest it's called an unclear message. Is this quest now part of any chains? Because we already have chains that are related to factions, right? Yes, it is. It's actually at the end of an artist chain for whatever reason. I don't know why. But it is. So the way I see it, right, is that we have oops, I destroyed it. Yeah, the only thing that this paint doesn't have, the ability to scale, you know, evenly. No. Yeah, so you start here, right? You have your own quest chain, right? Which may be as complex as we want, as simple as we want, right? It's fine. And then at a certain point, right, you will gain access to the knowledge connected to the item that actually your race brought to this world, right? And here is where I'm struggling a bit to understand what I want to do next. Like, okay, let's say that here you have, like we said, like, so for the Enki, we have the Garruk staff, right? This is a staff. This is a very famous staff that basically guided the Enki out of their world and allowed them to escape, right? Similarly to the Great Turquoise, but in a different way, but it's pretty much the same concept, right? And so this staff may actually have been brought, to Iliacum for a reason, right? Or for a purpose, right? And I don't know if you will be able to find the staff, really, right? Because obviously, being in multiplayer, I cannot have 100 of those, right? I think it would be kind of cool if that item is kind of a unique item that only one player at a time can have. But I mean, it may be a bit annoying. But I think that's pretty much what it should be, right? So it's a unique item that cannot be duplicated, and I think that what I would like to do is that with that item, or with the knowledge of that item, you will be able to access you will be able to access a new area, right? You will be able to access a new area that does not exist. I mean, that you cannot access without, right? And this new area will give you even additional insight on the mission that you have in this world, right? As a race. And I think after you understand that, and you understand what your race can do and how you should do it and why you should do it, right? So this will be like some answers like the why, the how, you know, and yeah, the why and the how, I would say, and the what, right? But yeah, the what, the how, and the why, race wise, right? Then the good thing would be if this could be connected to other races, right? And I don't know if I want to have this synergy like 2x2, or if I want to have the synergy 9x9, so all the races together, right? So that only when, because this way, I mean, if you think to multiplayer, right, to like a multiplayer mechanic, is like you have to party with another race player and with him do something, or no, I mean, you can also not be in the same party, but you need that race to actually do something, right? The problem is that, is it in your instance, so we have to instantiate it specifically, or is in this additional area that starts, you know, that has kind of waves of refresh, because obviously we have always to think that we are in a multiplayer game, so things happen continuously, right? So but yeah, we could think to an area that is continuously refreshing, right? And you have to, after you gain access to this knowledge and this power, you can actually access that area and you can contribute with your race to whatever. The only problem of this is that this is a kind of a one-time thing, right? So when it's done, it's done. So or I refresh it continuously, and so there is we invent a kind of a need to do it continuously, right? Or once done, you basically finish the main plot. So there is a pretty big decision, right? If you want you to be able to finish the main plot or not. I think unfortunately the answer needs to be yes, because I mean, if it's a plot, it needs to have an end, right? But I think it would be pretty cool if every race contributes something, right? Every race contributes something, and you have to combine, right? You have to combine their. So I'm thinking, is this 1+1, right? 1+1 that arrives here, and then you need to join it with this guy, right? Which did it with someone else, right? So is it like this? Like we do 2x2 or 3x3, and then or again is everyone on everyone? That I think is a good question. That I think is a good question. Or another way, right, to do it would be, another way to do it would be that You can still do it with your own, only with your race, but if someone else is contributing, right, you have some bonuses or some advantages while doing that particular quest or exploring that area. So there is a kind of a synergy. But I think story-wise, I mean, the races were brought to this world for a reason. And so in theory, all of them should work. All of them should work at the end to unlock whatever we want to unlock. So I don't think that one race can finish it. I mean, and the easiest now, I didn't yet think to that level, but the easiest would be, you know, that there is an area that is completely corrupted by something, right? And you have to cleanse, right? And you have to clean it. And so when you, thanks to this magical item that your race brought to this world, you can actually, you manage actually to clean it, right? And that basically gives you access to something else, right? And the same is done by the Null 3, right? And maybe it is a constant push, right? Maybe it is a kind of a wave, right? A wave of corruption that is continuously eroding, you know, this area. And so it's a kind of a constant push, right? If we make it a constant push, then the multiplayer works. I mean, it can go on forever. If we make it, and maybe you know, when it's fully, the only problem is when it's fully cleaned, then what happens, right? When it's fully cleaned, yeah. So I need to think if I want really the schema to be all the 9 races in parallel, and these areas to be specific by race. I mean, which, by the way, would be fantastic if this area is actually their home world where they go back through a portal. I mean, that would be insane. But thinking to remodel all the home worlds of every race, I think is like impossible. But that would be pretty cool, actually. I mean, I have few things in my mind that I cannot tell you. I don't want to tell you because they are really fundamental of the main plot, and I think they are too big of a spoiler, so I don't want to tell you. But there are some pieces that I think are very interesting and very unique to our setting that will make you smile when you know it, right? So I think as a first, so I think we can split this like in 3 steps, right? In 3 steps. So step 1 is develop a race quest line, right? Develop a race quest line that is as complex as we want. At the beginning can only be like 3 or 4 quests. I don't think we have to go crazy, which actually brings you to the knowledge of what is the key item that your race brought to this world, that is basically the purpose of why you are here, right? So that is the step 1, right? That is step 1. And this has to be done for every race, including the races that were born in this world, right? Including the Kran and the Lemur. And for the Kran and the Lemur, we have to think what to do, but there could be, I mean, we will find a way, right? We will find a way. I think the only annoyance is that if we start to develop, maybe let's say that we start with Yankee, right? And we develop the store, we develop this piece, right? Then it means that for pretty long time, only the Enki race will have that additional thing to do, right? The other races will not have it until we develop their quest, right? So that's very annoying. I mean, from the player point of view, he will basically have more content to play if he's this guy, right? Which is, I don't know. I mean, unfortunately, this one I cannot solve because we cannot create, all the quests and then release them all in one day. I mean, it's impossible. I mean, it's absolutely impossible. Hello, Fannar. Welcome back. So yeah, what I was saying is that pretty much what I'm thinking to I'm thinking to a 3 steps process, right? 1, 2, and 3, where step number 1 is the development of a quest chain dedicated to a race, which will allow you to discover more of why your race is in this world, right? The second part will be with that knowledge and potentially with the access to the item or to someone that has that item, you will be able to access an area of the world, right? An area of the world which is problematic and is dominated by whatever. We have to decide what is it, okay? Can be just the invasion monster forces, whatever. Can be just the same, black tendrils or whatever that we found in some of the history of the homeworld history. Can be the black ashes, can be magical spirits, can be whatever, right? And that area will be a constant battle. And I like the idea of the constant battle because this is very multiplayer oriented, right? I mean, it's a bit less storyline oriented, but it's very multiplayer oriented. So it's a bit easier for me because I can have an area that like regenerates over time. And so when player actually go there, they push it. Imagine like a beach of sand, right? Where you have the waves of the sea coming through, right? And you are trying to push out these waves. I mean, the wave is obviously impossible, but I'm saying something that is constantly, corrupting the land, right? Is constantly corrupting the land, constantly. And this is the step number 2, right? Which, as a multiplayer, I mean, as different races, you will have. So, which is good because you will have, race only. But I think also other races in theory could enter there. I don't know. Or maybe the area can be 1, right? Maybe the number 2 can be 1 area. Yeah, that's much better actually. That's much better actually. No, the number 2 is 1 area. The number 2 is 1 area, right? That has multiple things to do that are doable only for the people that completed the racial chain quest and got access to the item, and so can use or that item or the power given by that item in this area. And I think a bit of the fun part of this, right? Because will be a bit of a fight versus the game, right? Because imagine that I put a number of monsters, let's call them monster for now, but probably they will not be just monsters, right? But I put something that you have to counter, right? That actually is made of different, actually different types that you can attack or destroy only with that race or with a combination of two races, right? So let's say there is something that requires the Gakru staff and the turquoise, right? Which is actually the one of these guys, right? So there is maybe something that requires, right, those two pieces, right? Is this the way you write turquoise? I think so. Turquoise. Turquoise, huh? Turquoise. Yeah, so there can be something that actually requires, right, requires the turquoise and requires, for example, the Gakru staff, right? And so only if Ilians and Kirukai work together, right, in that area, they can actually push back the advance of that thingy, right? And I would say that only when all the races properly contributed to this and managed to push back fully, right, this thing, then the final part of the plot actually unlocks. My issue is that will be the end of the game, right? There will be the end of the plot. There will be the end of the plot. So meaning that if they manage to do that, and they really manage to unlock everything, right? Their purpose on this world is done, is finished. And so they should just or live there happily forever or just go back to their home worlds, right? For the one that they can, and see if I think that then the next level could be, the number. So this would be number 3, right? Then the number 4 could be, in theory, that after this is done, they go back to their home planets, right? Or they get access to their own planets, right, through a portal of some kind, right? And they can maybe just go back and forth, right? So that could be like an expansion, right? So like the main story arrives up to here. So arrives up. The problem is the role playing aspect of this, because if we say that they actually managed to do it, right? If they actually manage, so if all the races actually manage to do it, and this is, let's say, completed, and the world is restored to what it was, right? Then what happens to a new player that just creates a new character at that moment, right? He will not have any more the race history, he will not have any more the ability to do the number 2, and he will not have the ability to do number 3. So you see, that's the big dilemma of a multiplayer game versus a single player game. Because in a single player game, I can say end, right? Mainly if you change the world, right? If you change the world significantly, up to the point that is not anymore. I mean, the original purpose is not there, right? So imagine a Fallout 76, right? Where you actually completely remove the radiation from the world and you restore the world fully, right? At that point, a new player that creates a new character in Fallout will just see, a normal world, right? So it will not be Fallout anymore. So that's a bit of the problem here. I mean, the solution to this problem is basically that you cannot win, right? You cannot win. But that's very bad, I would say. That's very bad, I would say. Because if you cannot win, right? And if, let's say, that the evil force is always capable of pushing back, into you all the time, right? And so that this goes in waves, like I was saying. But the wave never, I mean, you can never win the wave, right? Then okay, then you have no end, and maybe it's just another cycle, right? So I think the way, like World of Warcraft may do it, is that what they do, they say, okay, you finish this world, right? You finish this story, and so you move to another part of the world that has a new story, right? And so actually you can finish it, but then for you it's done. But for a new player that connects, right, that is created new, he still has to do it. But it's completely disruptive from the role-play perspective. It's completely disruptive because basically the story went on, but a new guy is still in the previous story, which makes completely no sense. So how do we solve that? How do we solve this? Do we really want to have an end, right? Do we really want to have an end? I mean, we could have the end, right? We could have the end, and then fuck it, we reset and we reset it, right? Could we do this? Could we say the players actually won the game? The players actually beat the game, and we decide now that we reset it. But if we do it, then what it means that you start from with new characters, or what? So there will be like an instance with veteran players that actually completed it. They can go everywhere, and an instance where there are new players that are still battling for the first objective. Is this what it means? How about the players who prove themselves able to enter the end area? Hey, that's the problem, right? That's the problem. That's the problem, because I don't know. I mean, if you are a veteran player, and you played through, so you did all of this, right? You did all the quests, the racial quests. You reached the item, you cleansed this area, you enter the final stage, where this can be pushed back for real, and you actually do it. So you vanquish the ultimate evil, right? And it is done, right? It is done. So this means that the area number 2 doesn't make any sense anymore. I mean, the area number 1 may still make sense because you have your racial history, right? Which is okay. When you have your racial, you learn about the old ancient and Kirukai that was, carrying the Gakru stuff and liberated their people and made them escape, from their planet long time ago, blah, blah, blah. All of that is good, right? So as a new player, you can still do 1. But there will basically be no meaning of doing 2 because 2 is already completed. So there is nothing pushing. There is nothing pushing you here. And there is nothing to vanquish here because it's been done already. I mean, we could just reset it. We could just say, okay, now we reset that part. But I think for most people would be really the end of the game, right? So I'll say, okay, it's done, right? It's done. I mean, I don't have anything to do anymore with this game because it's done. So again, the way big games do it is that they say, okay, there is actually end 1, right? End 1 brings you to a new scenario, right? A new scenario as a new scenario as a completely new story with a new, end 2, right? And so a new player, but the problem is, a new player, how can a new player do end 1 again, right? This is what is super annoying to me, because any multiplayer game will say, fuck it, who cares? He will just do it again, right? He's a new player, so he will just do it again. But in theory, the world completely changed and is no more in that state. Again, the example of Fallout, right? Fallout, imagine that people completely restore the world to a point where there is no radiation and everything is normal and the life returns to normal, right? So there will not be Fallout anymore as a game, right? Like there will be no monsters, no anything, everything restored, and reached. Maybe eventually spin up a second server to give some player the experience and eventually merge with the oldest server. Yeah, that could be a way, right? To say, okay, this world is finished. You have to. I mean, the easiest obviously is that the ultimate evil returns, right? And so you have to restart. But even if the ultimate evil returns and you have to restart, for the players that went through it once, it would be basically pointless to do it again, right? It will be basically pointless to do it again. Also because they will already be here, right? They will already be at the end of 1, so they could in theory jump directly into 2. Yeah, they will, basically the veteran players will be already into 2 and they will say, what the fuck? What happened? We vanquished the ultimate evil and now is back. Okay. So should we do it again? And maybe that player will say, no, I don't want to do it. I have access to my home world. And I just go there to say, no, the access to your home, sorry, but the access to your home world has been removed because that shit, conquered again all this part, and so you are back to square 1, and you have to push again, right? I mean, we can do it this way. I mean, that's the easiest for me, right? That's definitely the easiest for me. So that basically after some, I mean, as soon as it ends, right, there is maybe a period of, I don't know, 1 month or 2 months. It's like a season, right? It's like a season. So a period of like 1 or 2 months where actually the world is normal, right? Where actually the world is normal and everything is fine, but then after a certain time it breaks again, right? But what I would like to do, what I really would like to do, really would like to do, is that a player by itself cannot win number 2. Cannot. It would be impossible for a single player to beat number 2. And obviously number 3 as well. So there must be the combination of multiple players, right? I mean, it's like chivalry, right? Where you have the two factions that are like battling each other, right? I don't know if there is a good picture for this. The best would be a picture from the top, but anyway, maybe this one. But right, there are the two factions battling each other one is on one side of the battlefield, the other is on the other side of the battlefield, and there are continuous spawns, which are the new players, right? They spawn on one side or on the other side pretty much randomly, and they battle each other forever, right? And but then at a certain point, it's not forever, because then at a certain point, one of the two factions wins, right? Manage to conquer the castle, and then basically there is a reset, right? So there is a reset, which may be in another scenario, but at the end it will be repeatable, right? So you say, okay, now you won, but there is another battle to fight, right? Maybe in War 2 is more farther in the timeline, but the people can have the ability to travel between War 1 and War 2. Yeah, but does the War 2 does the War 2 mean a separate server? Like another game? Because that would be a bit weird. I mean, we can have another server, but then that server will be populated only by veteran players. So you will basically have a server where maybe the people that played 100 of hours connect, but then maybe they lose interest into the game, and so the server will be empty. Understand? So I think that the problem is that you don't have enough. You don't. I mean, you cannot rely on veteran players to have content. I mean, you cannot create content only for veteran players, right? Beyond a certain stage, right? Beyond a certain stage, because they will leave. They will go to another game, or they will just grow up, and have a family with 3 kids, 2 dogs, and 1 parrot and 1 turtle, and they will not have the time anymore to play, and so basically that world will always be a dying world, right? Will always be a decadent world with no one playing, or with very few people playing. So it would be like a deserted world, like a Barrens. And I don't think we want that. Right? So I don't think we want to have a world which is empty. I think it should be in the same world, it should be in the same world and just be another scenario, right? Another scenario. So something new happens, and so the freaking vanquished evil that you thought is gone is not, or there is another one. And so you have to battle it. I mean, and the easiest for me, what would be? would be the homeworlds, obviously. Would be the homeworlds, right? So in the homeworlds, we can easily say, oh, you know what? This homeworld is not clean. It's still a mess. And so whoever wants, now that the portal is open, right? Now that the portal is open because it's open, you can travel to this world and do the next, and do the next adventure. And so you will basically, I mean, as a veteran player, you will be able to experience everything. We will be able to experience the race stuff, the stage number 2 with the waves, with the continuous waves and pushing and pulling until you reach, the stage 3, and the stage 3 and the vanquishing of it. And then the end, the first end, and the other world. The problem is, what happens if I create a new character at that point, right? What the hell happens? If I create a new character at that point, this one will be done. This one is done, right? So I will be able to contribute in this particular planet, and yeah, but pretty much yes. I think this is how it should be. Well, I can make the wave so strong that you guys cannot beat it, right? I can make this wave so strong that you cannot beat it. It is impossible to beat it. And so even if you try, it becomes a constant battle, right? But you never win. And I think that here the point will be how many players we have, right? How many players we have, because I think that this will be an impossible wall for now. Like with, I don't know, 15, 20 players online, I think it will be impossible. Even if all of them play together to beat it, they will not be able to beat it. Because it's too few people. So I can design it. Then maybe we need 200 players, right? Then maybe we need 200 players to beat one of the objectives. Otherwise, it just doesn't work, right? It just doesn't work. And so it will continuously push you back. Now, one problem in all of this, right? One problem in all of this are the factions. Because there is actually another piece of the puzzle that I didn't mention yet, right? Which are the faction quest. So are the faction quest parallel to this story, or what? How are the faction quests contributing to this, right? So that's the question. So because on the side, right, we have the faction quest, and at the moment you didn't see them enough, I know, but imagine that they are more powerful than today. So you have guild halls specific to every faction, and I mean a bit like the current magic quest chains, right? But also with specific end goals, right? And so for the factions you have whatever, right? For the factions you have whatever. The Indomitables, right? The Indomitables. Right? So you have this faction, right? And then you have whatever. A religion faction, right? Iron Hand. The Iron Hand. Lanks, right? And so on, right? So these factions all have or should have, but some already have, quest specific chains, right? So you have quest specific chains. Where every bubble is a quest, right? The end, I mean, the end is not really an end, but it's usually the fact that you become, you know, very expert in one, in that area, which can be a crafting faction, or it can be a religion, or it can be weapons, can be whatever, right? Octarchy or whatever. But we have those quests. So the question is, do we see a connection between the two? So do we want to have somehow to require the faction quest chain completed before, for example, entering stage 2, right? And is the stage 2, does the stage 2 require you to have something like this? Because obviously if I'm only doing the racial ones, right, and I gain access to this, right, it's a bit too simple, because basically you completely avoid all this part, right, and you just jump directly into the racial one, you reach this, and then you are in stage 2, and then you are in stage 3, right? So and I don't know, in 10 hours of gameplay, you know, you finish it. I mean, apart from the wave, apart from the impossible wave that I'm putting there, but the question is, should it be a combination, right, of, should it be a combination of race and job? I think it should be. So I think that this goal, right, this goal is actually 3 things. This goal is 3 things. So is the turquoise, like in this case, is the turquoise, is the Gakru stuff, and is one of these nodes, right? So that only if someone that has enough of those can actually unlock, right, that stuff. So that what I will have to think is how many of those can be unlocked, and how long they stay unlocked. Imagine this as a switch, right? At the moment, imagine them as a simple switch. So I'm going to put 9 switches that you have to push. I mean, obviously it's not switches, but I'm saying just to simplify just to simplify, so something that you have to do, which is like yes, no, like a yes, no switch, right? I'm going to put 9, 1 for each race. And I think that some races can contribute, right, to the switch of this guy. They may, right? They may contribute to the switch of this guy. Maybe not all the races can contribute to all the goals, right? But there is a primary race which is required, and it does like 70% of the, yeah, exactly. It does like 70% of the job, right? And then maybe the other races can contribute the other 30% if they want, but it's optional. Is optional. So at a certain point, this race will actually be able to unlock this. And it will say done, right? I'm done. I did it. The Klyros beat the stage 2 fully. We did it. It's done. And then the alien will be in trouble because they say, no, we are not done. This thing is still missing on us, right? And so maybe other races will help, right? And then at a certain point they will say, yes, it's done. We did it as well, right? So at that point, so the question is how much time it will pass before that switch turns off again, right? Is it a week? Is it a day? Is it a year? I don't know. I think it could be a week or a month maximum. I would say a week or 2 weeks. So in 1 week or 2 weeks, right, this thing will reset, and basically these guys will have to try again, right? We'll have to try again. And in 2 weeks, also this one will reset. And so these guys will have to try again, right? So I think that the complexity of stage two is actually to design what is it, right? What is stage 2? Stage 1 is very easy. Stage 1 is racial stories which bring you to the item that is required to go to stage 2, right? And obviously your stage 2 should be connected to that item, right? Somehow. And so basically, all your training, right? All the things that you did in this freaking world, right? All the stuff that you did here in the racial quest and in the faction in the faction quest are needed for you to actually unlock stage 2. Right? Yeah, so obviously this I think this will be, I think, let's say the access to this, the access to level 2, I think it should not be super high level, right? I think that also people with lower ranks, if they completed the racial stuff, they can access to this. So here you may have a mix of veteran players and new players somehow, right? And they can all contribute. I think they can all contribute, but it will be like a boss fight, right? It will be like a boss fight where, yeah, new players can be there, but anyway, they contribute that much. And so if they didn't finish properly this, or if they didn't progress enough in the different quest lines, and they are not high rank enough, they will do not much difference in this area here, right? And so basically will be, for the players, will be a way to test like PvE, right? like player versus environment, right? So it would be a PvE game, like Plane Shift is anyway. So it would be a PvE game where players test the waters here and try to understand how hard is this wave, right? How hard is this thing to beat? And then maybe they will realize, oh, to beat it, we need 200 players online. And if we don't have 200 players online, that's impossible. That will never happen, right? That will never happen. And so if you beat it, then everyone access stage 3, at least for a certain period of time. Right? They access stage 3 at least for a certain period of time. But again, if you don't complete it in time or with the right resources or with the right, you don't have enough people, this will close again. And then 2 will close again. Right? 3 and 2 will close again. And if you really beat also number 3, okay, then I will have to add more content and have this idea of the homeworlds, right? But then something must happen and this thing is reset, right? And so as a veteran player, you will be ready because you know exactly what to do, right? But you need the power of the other players with you. Otherwise, by yourself, you will never be able to win it, right? So there will be no purpose of doing it again. And maybe what I can do, I can do that here at the end. There are items or benefits for the player that are unique and they will never happen again, right? So when one cycle finishes, you are getting here unique items, unique skins, unique whatever. They will never happen again, ever, right? And then a new cycle restarts, and there will be new ones at the end. So at least the veteran players know that, okay, if I bother doing it again, at least I'm getting something. Right? And so the veteran players can help the new players to do it. But they also have a benefit, right? So let's say that the race chains are determining access to this area, right? So the race chains allow you access to that area, but the factions are determining the power that you have to actually push this thing down, right? I think if you just do the race piece and try to enter here, you get destroyed, right? You basically find enemies that you cannot even imagine, right? That you cannot beat in any possible way, right? They just one-shot you, right? Or whatever. You just die as soon as you enter, right? Because you don't have the right protection or magic spells to protect yourself or whatever. You don't have the right, elements to... You're not strong enough. And so I think this is probably the solution, right? That race quest chains give you access, and faction quest chains plus normal grinding, right? Because in theory here there is another box, right? There is another box next to this. Which is the normal grind, right? The normal, I don't know how to call it, but let's call it grind. But You know, the normal kill monster, you know, do repeatable quest, or, you know, just get experience by doing stuff in the game in any possible way. So these two will like kind of go together, right, for the intensity of your push in stage in the stage 2, right? I think it's a good plan. I mean, we have a bit of the issue of the end restart, but I think that the end restart, if we do it the way I said, so we like unique items at the end, that ensure replayability, and I think it kind of makes sense. Now, my problem would be a bit of the size of the world, because obviously if you are gonna add 2 new massive areas plus the home planets, right? I don't know if that will fit into one server, but I think that's pretty far away in time, right? Unless, you know, 10,000 of you subscribe to the channel right now. So I think it's pretty far in time, right? Because to build this part, it takes thousands of hours, right? I can definitely commission some of the stuff, but I think in particular this is not simple to commission, right? Because it really requires someone with a strong vision on the game and on all the background and all the background stories and whatever, which I don't even have, but I have a bit, right? I have a bit, but I don't have all of it. Just because I don't have an infinite memory, and there's been so much developed for the game during the years. Okay, but I think it's a kind of a good plan. I think it's a kind of a good plan. Let's see if we can summarize it somehow, right? Because it's always good to summarize things so that they remain as a history. Do we have a main plot? Mission. Yeah, we have a main plot mission. I think this main plot mission is mostly for the main story, meaning the homeworld story, right? Let me see. This is number 1. Homeworld, journey through the desert, escape from the desert, stop to the journey. Okay, this was a very, 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 very early reasoning on the main story, right? Then there is this one, main story 1. I remember this one. This one was how do you go from the... Yeah, but this one we solved. Which is actually, we choose this one, right? We choose the fly. And so this one was how from the labyrinth to actually reach Hydla City. And this one is basically done. This one was the stone labyrinths to reach the towers, and how the towers are divided, and where are the people in those things. So sad I have sleeping during a big part of the explanation. Why do you sleep when there is such an important discussion, Hula? In short, nobody can enter the other part of the world. Well, at the moment it doesn't even exist, so... So no, at the moment no one can enter because it doesn't exist. But I will summarize what we said in a second, okay? I will summarize it. Because I need to recollect, I need to put down in paper, you know, what we said so that I can reuse it in the future. Yeah, this was just the homeworld story. This main story is basically homeworld, right? Yeah, this was the refresh on the quest sequence, right? Which we did, and this is the pterosaur that fly you back to Idla. And I don't know what is this, but Hula, you are here on the bottom left, if you can see. You were also in this picture. Okay, and that's pretty much the main story 5. These were all the NPC, right? Which is okay. So I think we can create a main story 6, right? We can create a main story 6 that I don't think it should be this mess, because this mess is a bit too much, right? But let me see. Let's create a new picture. Let's create a new picture. So this one will be main story 6. Main story 6. So this will be the sum of what I said, Hula. So you can catch up with you can catch up now. Main story 6. Okay, so what we said is, so the plan is to have specific race quest chains. Specific race quest chains, right? This one I destroyed. Pity. Right. And we can have 3 as an example, but obviously there will be all the others, right? So we're going to, so one is develop racial quest chains. So the objective of this is for sure for you to learn more about the history of the races, their traditions, you know, to put you even deeper into the setting, right, into the lore of the game. And role play wise, I think that's fantastic. So that's exactly what we need, right? We need more lore, and I think the quest is the best way to do it, right? So, but the main objective is to understand why your race is here, right? Why your race is in Iliacum today, and also what this race is bringing to the table for everyone else, right? Right? And so what we bring is actually that list of items that, by the way, we still have to finish because it's not finished, but it's pretty much this, right? Which is a discussion that we did already long time ago, and I can try to improve it. I think, I don't know if we had a, let me see if we had, because we had some internal discussions on this with some other devs. Wait. No, I cannot find it. I cannot find it. I'm searching in our internal channel if I find any. Which were the one missing? The one missing were the Yankee, the Stonehammer maybe. Wait. Stonehammer. Yeah, I found it. Okay, I found it. Yeah, because the Stonehammer was missing, and so yeah, I already integrated here. This was the suggestion for the Diablo by Wadjet. Maybe an item of Citrania. The Exile Mage will help draw dual attention or a piece of the blade to kill the Diabolic God. These are all suggestions by Wadjet. These are all suggestions by Wadjet that we need to evaluate. Okay. Okay, good. But anyway, we will have to finalize. So let's say that one. No, I think there is actually two, right? Because one is to finalize the racial items, right? The items. Finalize the items brought from the homeworlds, right? So that's number one. Then number two is to develop the racial quest chains, right? Which basically, why we are here, what we bring, right? Well, what we bring is the one above, is number one, right? Then this will go into a bunch of quest chains, right? So imagine that these ones are quest chains, and I think the point is that when you finish a quest chain, you basically get access, right? So ending the quest chain, we give you access to. We'll give you access to the area number 2, which I don't want to name it at the moment. First of all, because I don't have a name, and second, because I don't want to say too much now. But basically, right? So it will be a bit like Area 51, that no one knows what's inside. But anyway, so I will give you access to a restricted area, right? By race. Now, I think the area should be one for all the races. So it's the same area, what I'm saying, right? One area for all is not one area for each, right? One area for all. I mean, it can be a very complex one, right? It can be kilometers and kilometers of land, right? It's not an issue. So, but I would say is one area where only the ones that have that particular, like entering the winch, right? So only the ones that actually completed the quest chain can actually go in. I don't know if I want to have also a master badge from some of the other quest chains, right? So I think that would be kind of cool. Like, I think we need to define a kind of a threshold where really new players cannot go in, because I think it doesn't really make sense, right? And I don't know if the threshold, because if it's only the quest chains, I think will not be will not be enough. So what I'm thinking to have also a bit of the faction side, right? This side, like as a prerequisite, right? A prerequisite to that. What is the welcome letter telling you? Because I think I had something in the welcome letter, right? But I think the welcome letter was already fairly generic. So it's not really telling much. Wait, on the wrong database. I'm on the wrong database. So the welcome letter is saying welcome newcomer on behalf of the Vigesimi of Idla. Let me be the first to welcome you. We are one of the many who have been forced to leave their homes to come to Idla. Then our warm prayers are with you and your loved ones. With the rise in the attacks, which are making it beyond the protection of the bronze doors, these are surely troubled times. Sorry, let me copy this somewhere else because it's annoying to read. So you see this letter, you know, is already kind of giving you a bit of background of what is going on, right? A truly troubled time. But in truth, you could have found yourself arriving in a better city. Why would you found on the dome in a better place? Blah, 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 blah. Allow me to introduce you. First, we'd like to see the... Okay, so it is explaining you just the... Yeah, it's just explaining a bit of the... He's not telling you much. He's just telling you that it's troubled times and... Yeah, okay. Some of the other MMO do this kind of thing. Horizon, for example, never played, but I know free from 0 to 200, but you have another part after. You need to pay to enter. I see. So it's like, yeah, but I mean, it is a bit what I said here, right? So in theory, there could be an end. There could be an end. And then it could be a new scenario with another end, right? So there could be a completely new part. But I think that, to me, the first thing would be the home planets, right? Will be the home planets. I mean, going back, the ability to go back to the home planets, I think would be insane, right? Would be absolutely insane. I mean, I would love to go back to the home planets. Somehow, some way. I mean, it would be absolutely fantastic. So we have a number of other planets that we can discover. I mean, there is no end to the possibilities that we have, right? But we need to make stronger. I think what I mean is that we need to make stronger this kind of progression and main plot so that the people understand what they are doing. Well, at the moment they are not, right? At the moment they are not understanding what they are doing. So I would say that ending the quest chain. Now the problem is, who do we put in the... I mean, why you cannot access the second area immediately, right? Roleplay, I mean, from the roleplay and world consistency point of view, why you cannot just enter this area? What is preventing you? Is it something preventing you to go there or not? Can you just step in and by the way, is that area just beyond the bronze doors or is it something different, right? I think it is. I think it is the area behind the bronze doors. I mean, there is no other way, right? It is. It is. So you go back to the labyrinths that you were, right? I mean, I don't know when I really want to have the spoiler. But I think at a certain point you will have to realize what is it. I think one day I will have to say. I mean, there's no way. I think that one day I will have to say. Because as we develop, as we develop the area number 2, there will be no way to avoid it. But yeah, let's say that, okay. I think I have a picture in my mind now, and I think it's a bit easier. So, ending the quest chain, will give you access, will give you the knowledge of the what we bring, right? We'll give you the knowledge and potentially access to the what we bring, right? Which is one of the items that we have in that picture. Right? In this picture that we still have to finalize, so we don't know if this is the right list, but basically, right? But basically this is potentially, right, the list. We have to finalize it, improve it, give it a background and whatever. But so, but then what I want to do, I want to have another piece of the puzzle, which is basically that. So there will be a bronze doors. Now the problem is that we have to change. I think we have to change few things, because at the moment you can go to the bronze doors without any problem, and you can go through the end door without any problem, right? Can you enter the area beyond? How do you enter the area beyond at the moment? You don't, huh? How do you enter the area beyond the bronze doors today, guys? Do you enter or not? Can a player go beyond? I don't think, right? What a beautiful city. What a beautiful city. It's becoming night, obviously. I made a small door, but it's closed. No, because that is the entrance to area number 2. That is the entrance to area number 2. That one. Exactly that one. Exactly that one. Exactly this. This freaking door. Run! You can do it. Yeah, that is the door. You have a good memory, huh, Hula? You have a good memory, huh? I don't have a good memory. Yeah, this door. Which is an exit here. Yeah, but this door is not functional at the moment. This door is not functional, but if you go through, apart from the fact that it's super dark, but we kind of fix that. Yeah. Okay. This is the thing, right? This is the thing. Yeah. 100%. This is the entrance, guys, to area number 2. That's it. This is the freaking entrance to area number 2. 100%. 100%. Decided, done. Decided, done. Easy. Easy. So, okay, so the story is the following, right? In front of that little door, right? In front of that little door, not the big one, the small one. I think the small one, no? Yeah, because opening the big one is a freaking mess. So in front of this door, right, there will be... It's so dark. No, why is it so dark? I cannot freaking see it. Please. Well. It's burning. It's burning. Okay, anyway, whatever. In front of this door, right? In front of this door, there will be some guards and some, you know, so I think that even Ariel or whatever is the name, or you know, some of the high guards of the bronze doors will stop you, right? They will say, "Hey, where do you want to go?" Right? And in theory, if this is our planet, right? We know if this is our planet, the planet where we are in, right? We know that all around the stalactite, which actually is way smaller than this, but just to give you a sense, right? There are bronze doors, right? There are bronze doors everywhere. There is the eagle bronze door, the bear bronze door, the serpent bronze door, the whatever bronze door, right? And these bronze doors are actually bringing to different labyrinths in the surface of the planet. Well, not the surface, the area below the surface, right? So these are bringing to, so imagine that we have, you know, the outside planet, right? The outside planet, right? So these things are bringing into, right, labyrinths, different type of labyrinth, right? And so I think that our labyrinths are exactly the area that we were saying before, right? So this is area number 2. This is area number 2. So I would say that in front of the so we can say that So ending the quest chain will give you the access to what we bring. Okay, this is one piece. This is one piece of the puzzle, right? This is only one piece. So if you also mastered one job, right? Meaning reaching the high rank. I mean, if you also reached, let's say, if you also reached a high rank in one of the factions, and I think in this case, you know, magic faction, religion faction, job faction, they're all the same, right? Doesn't make any difference. So it can be religion, it can be magic, it can be jobs, it can be whatever, right? So if you also have reached high rank in one of the factions, then you will have access, right, to the what we call the area number 2, right? Right, and the area number 2 at the moment is, right, the area number 2 is beyond the bronze doors, right? Beyond the bronze doors, right? So basically, right, this door brings you, right? I don't know how to. Clipboard cannot copy. Okay, GG. Basically, this door brings you to area number 2, right? Right. So you do the racial quest, you do the faction quest, you reach a high rank, right? In one of the faction quests. Which is basically 3, right? And then at that point, you may be ready. The problem is that you may not be strong enough, right? You may not be strong enough to actually survive in that area, right? You may not be strong enough, but that's another problem. So you will just do more quests, more stuff, more whatever. You will grind a bit more, and then you will reach, right? You will reach. So at this point, I think that what the bronze door guys will know is only that you have to neutralize, right? You have to neutralize something. So basically each race should neutralize, right, a thing that I cannot really express now what is it, right? But let's call it a core node, right, or something like that, right? Let's call it a core node for better, right? Because I don't have a name at the moment. So we'll have to neutralize a core node. This core node can be neutralized only by a specific race, right? So the core nodes are actually specialized by race and are connected to the story and are connected to the item that they bring, right? So basically each node is connected to the what we bring above, right? So for example, one node can only be neutralized if you have the staff of Gakro, right? Perhaps you can drop the NPC who give the big reward at the enter of just of the door. You're already thinking to rewards, Hula. You're already thinking to rewards. We are still making the story. But yeah. But yes, I mean, entering the other area will be a completed quest, I guess. Right? So each race should neutralize a core node. Now the problem is that in this discussion, right, you push, the evil force is pushing back, right? You push, the evil force is pushing back. So in area number 2 is a constant battle, right? So this area is a constant battle. Now, doesn't mean that it has to be a battle, right? I mean, I'm saying battle, but let's call it a constant push of opposing forces, right? It doesn't mean that it has to be combat, right? It may be puzzles, it may be items that you have to move from one place to another. Yes, it can be like agility, agility stuff that you have to do in a certain way, in a certain sequence, in a certain speed, in a certain time, It can be a number of things. So it should not be, but this area is a constant push of opposing forces. So on one side, right, players... we finished the... On one side, players, right, on the other side, let's say the game, but let's say, let's call it the evil force, right? Or the opposing force. Let's call it the opposing force, right? For now, for a better name. So on one side are the players, on the other side the opposing force. So there's a constant push. So if you don't have the numbers in terms of number of players and ranks, you just cannot go through. I mean, it's impossible. So I really would like, what I'm imagining, is a kind of a shader that is basically across all that area, that is like just making everything corrupted and black, right? And as you progress, certain areas are becoming, cleaned, right? And good, right? So that you really see the difference. You see the difference. So the land is... So the best will be to have really a visual hint on corrupted versus cleaned, right? On the walls, I mean everywhere, I don't know. On the sections of the walls, on the floor, on the... So to have a... So did you have Dante Inferno? I don't know, maybe. So you have... I don't know if there is a shader which is actually a real shader, corrupt walls. I don't know. Probably not, but we can make it. But the idea is, I mean, it should not be dust only, right? I think dust is not enough, but... I mean, that's too little, but what I'm saying is that the scenario will change significantly, right? I mean, it will be basically the same... I don't know how to say, but... Cave. So what I'm saying is that it will go from whatever, right? Unfortunately, that light is too strong, but you get the idea, right? So it will basically go from here to here, right? So it will be like this. And as you clean it, and as you destroy it as core nodes, or you restore these core nodes, or you progress there, it will become like this. So you will have a visual feedback that things are going well or bad, right? So I don't know exactly. Don't know exactly how to do that, but you get an idea, right? So basically, we'll pay. He will pay. He will pay. I don't know why I want to do this. Oops. Cannot really. Cannot really. Yeah, but kind of. Okay, I mean, I don't know how to do it. But, right? I don't know exactly how to do it. But you get the idea. This is kind of better, actually. Exactly. Like this. So like, uh-oh. So like from this, please, to this. So I don't know. We will find a way, but basically the idea is that you will see, I don't know, that the floor is corrupted, the things around you are corrupted, you know, so everything is kind of shit. See you, Founder. Bye-bye. So each race, exact. So this will be a constant push opposing forces. Now the question is, what happens after this, right? What happened after this? Wait, I think I wanted to do this. Yeah, exactly. Please. Okay, now we have a bigger screen. So, okay. So now there are few key points of this discussion, right? There are few key points. The first key point is that these core nodes, right? Core nodes are race specific, right? And so basically every race should participate to actually solve the problem. If you only have in the game players of one race or two races or three races, this is not gonna work, right? So it's not gonna work. So the players will not win. You need to have all the races together, collaborating and working on the same objective, right? So a race a group actually is a group of players of that race, right? Of one race can, let's call it clean, but obviously at the moment it's just just an idea, but it may be different than cleaning. But it can clean one node, right? Up to 100%, right? Or to 70%, and the other races can contribute the missing 30%, but no more than this, right? So basically the core race should do 70% of the job, And if that race is missing, there's no way you can clean that core node, right? The other point is that there are 9 core nodes in total, right? 1 for each race, obviously. And the point is that only when all 9 are, let's say, clean or solved, or what you want to call it, right? Only when all these 9 are solved, you know, you can say that area number 2 is solved. How did we call this area number 2? We call it area 2, okay. Then area 2 is you know, done, complete. And this will unlock the last area, which I don't know if will ever happen, right? But let's call it area 3, and area 3 is basically this one, where our let's call it where our ultimate boss lives, right? So that will be like the ultimate boss, which, I mean, it doesn't have to be a creature. I'm just saying the ultimate puzzle or the ultimate whatever. I don't know what will be. In reality, I know, but I don't want to tell you. But anyway, so where our ultimate puzzle or boss live, right? And at this point, there will be a window of time. There will be a window of time to kill it. I don't know how much it should be, but I think 2 weeks to me sounds very good. Because I think 2 weeks as like 2 weekends in between. And I mean, it includes 2 weekends, so people can organize, and people can organize maybe even before, right? And yeah. Now, the problem I have in the story is that if you vanquish this ultimate evil, yeah, okay, but it's fine, it's fine. So we'll attempt to kill it. If you don't, pretty much, if you don't, area 3 closes and area 2 fully resets. Right? So basically, this guy is like, no way, I won, you didn't. I won, you didn't. All the stone labyrinths are again mine, right? So it would be very nice to have an animation, a cinematic, where basically the whole stone labyrinths underground would regain, it will be corrupted again, right? So like a massive, the whole stone labyrinths going to shit. So fully resets as corrupted again, right? And is corrupted again. Then after this, so if you do, right? If you do fix it, right? If you do, if you do kill it, if you kill it, he will be banished at least for a certain number of time that I don't know yet, right? Because this basically means that we reached end number 1. So in theory, the game is done. But anyway. But no, because we said that we have the portal to the planes. Okay, so if you kill it, it will be banished. It will be banished. It will be banished from Iliacum completely, right? But it still resides in the home planets, right? And it is where, you know, new portals. It is where new portals to the home planets will appear. And I think for this one, there should be the intervention of the gods, because I don't think that portals can just appear randomly. So, right? New portals to the home planets will appear. And here I will have a massive problem, because creating the content for each of the home planets is basically impossible, but I don't know. Maybe it will happen one day when I will be 90 years old, but it's fine. So at that point, you can do a clip of what I just said and come back in 50 years from now and we see if it's true or not. So the new portals and new will appear, opened by the gods. And so now the players have access, right? The players have access to the home planets. And can vanquish the evil forces there as well, right? So that would be like the ultimate point. And then after that, there will be a period of, so assuming that they do, right? Assuming that they do vanquish the freaking evil also on all the home planets, which by the way are 6, huh? 6 planets. So assuming that they do, we forgot to say something. We forgot to say that if you kill it, right, there will be unique drops, right, of items of I don't know which kind, but I don't know yet which kind, but there will be unique drops of items. And these are unique, they will never happen again. So it's like seasonal, right? It's like a season. So we can think of it like a season, right? So that happens one time, never happens again. You will never have those items again in your life if you didn't participate to that season, right? Right? But unique. Anyway, the point here is that they are unique drops that never happen again, right? So assuming that they do, then there will be a pause, right? So there will basically be a period of quiet, right? Or quietness. Do you say quietness? I don't know. Of quietness and I mean the universe is at peace, right? Right? Being in peace, at peace, in peace. I don't know. So, and at that point, the universe will be quiet. I don't know how much it should stay quiet, but obviously here we have a multiplayer game design issue that here we have two choices. Or we complete the chapter forever, meaning that that chapter will never happen again and no player can no new player can experience it again, but I think that would be a bit stupid because we don't have the, you know, the resources to actually just say, oh, sorry, this world now is done, right? So, for example, I don't know, it can be 2 months, right? Can be 2 months. So everything is happy life. Everything works, no issues at all, right? But then I think we have no other way, right? No other way than to create another cycle, right? Another cycle. And maybe the other cycle will be, I have few problems on the storyline because here obviously breaks everything, right? So having another cycle breaks everything. But I think we don't have another possibility, right? Or we just close the game and say, okay, guys, the game is done. You finished it. You beat it, right? You beat the game, and this is done forever. And we just make another game, right? So yeah, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I will close it and say option 1, you know, game done. Delete the game, right? Option 2, which by the way, option 1 will be correct from the roleplay perspective because actually the game is finished. It's like a single player game that you finished, right? You finished, it's done. You cleaned all the Iliacum stuff, you cleaned all the home planets, all the races can return to their home worlds, right? So there is no meaning anymore for this world to exist. And they just go back to their home worlds, right? So is done, right? And yeah. And option 2 will be why the brightness is not going down? Because it's in option 2, is to just restart the cycle. So it's just to restart. I mean, it's just to do another cycle, you know. Do another cycle. Evil returns, right? Evil returns. Sorry, you know. Yep. Sorry, you have to do it again. So basically, I mean, the evil can be different, but in theory is not, because in theory is not, but it could be a different, yeah, it could be different. I have to think about it. Yeah, but basically this is the thing, guys. This is the thing. This is the thing. What do you think about it? Do you have any suggestions or comments? I mean, do you understand what is this, and does it make sense? Do you want to do it differently, or? So to summarize, right? If you want to summarize what I said up to now, every race came to Iliacum for a reason. And they brought with them one item or one piece of knowledge or one magical energy or one something that is required to actually fight the ultimate evil on the other side of the surface, below the surface of the planet. So the players that have that knowledge, and so they completed the racial quest chains, plus they are at least high ranks, meaning masters in one of the factions, they will be allowed beyond this door, right? They will be allowed beyond this door by the guards that they have exactly the knowledge of what is going on, right? And they will allow you past that point. And past that point, if you look at the planet here on the right, you have all the stone labyrinths, right? All the stone labyrinths, which can have multiple entrances, right? Multiple entrances, which are these ones, and they can have multiple points that the player should vanquish or clean or delete or whatever it will be, I don't know, right? Which are scattered in the labyrinths, right? And there will be 9 of them, 1 for each race. 3, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there will be 9 of them scattered through the labyrinths, which may include giant caverns. I mean, they don't have to be all caves, right? It can be different scenarios, and they can be lava, they can be ice, they can be whatever we want, right? And so they will go there, and this is area number 2. This area number 2 is a constant push back and forth, and it's possible that players just give up, they don't care, and so they will never push. But if they push and they manage to clean each of the nodes, right, by race, with some contribution for the other races, they will finally access, you know, the area number 3, which is basically the one where the ultimate evil, the ultimate boss, the guy that created all of this and fuck it, why is doing a mess with the universe is, and you will have a window of time to kill it. A window of time of 2 weeks. If you don't do it in those 2 weeks, all the works that you have done in area number 2 will be reset completely, and you will have to restart. But if you do, then portals to home planets will appear. If you do, then little magical portals, these are too big. I have to redo it. Magical portals will appear. Well, not on the surface, obviously. They will appear inside. Yeah, I have to do them inside of here. I think you will never reach the surface. Sorry for the spoiler. Also because the surface probably doesn't have any habitability, I think. Bah, I don't know, maybe you will. Anyway, portals are generated, and these portals will bring you to the home planets, right? The home planets. And right? And in the home planets, in the freaking home planets, you will be able to vanquish again the ultimate evil also from your own planets, which, by the way, is where everything started, right? because the story starts with you going away from your home planet, you know, for reasons that you don't even know. But it is what happens. You are pretty upset about it because you like your planet. But anyway, yeah. Hello, Marcelo. Yeah, I did a kind of a summary of the summary. My old boss used to say the work is never ending. Yeah, exactly. So that's it. That's it. So for the people who voted for the main story, this is what the main plot could entail. We need to understand we need to understand better, you know, what exactly area 2 area 3 means, what exactly cleaning of the node means, because obviously it cannot be that simple. It has to be a role play way, and there should be a story behind, and there should be items, magic and stuff, but the basic structure, right, of the basic structure of the game can be like this. The basic structure of the game can be this. And I really like the fact that now we combine race with factions, right? And the home story and all of that. And I think that this will be good. I think this will actually be good. Do you have any feedback, guys? Do you have any feedback apart from, okay, it's a lot of work? I know you can do everything. It's a big job. Yeah, I think it's a big job. When I clean the swimming pool, 90% tomorrow we full leave again. The same with weeds. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's it. So what are the next steps? Well, let's say that the step number 1, right, which is actually to finalize the items brought to the homeworld, develop the racial quest chains, and also I would say in parallel to this there is the improve or complete. There is like 2A 2B, right, because right, complete improve the faction quest chains, because actually these ones are part of the problem, right? So if we don't do that, we don't have the second piece of the puzzle, right? So these have to go like in parallel, right? So we need to have the quest race chain, and we need to have the faction chains, so that when you reach here, you have all, right? Yeah. I think it's a good plan. I like it. I think it's a good plan. I mean, it was the plan from the beginning, by the way. I'm just sharing with you a bit more, but I mean, I didn't have exactly this, this level of detail, but in my mind, you know, this was pretty much the structure already. Okay, good. It is very nice. So now we need to understand what we need to do for the race quest chains, right? I think at the moment we are starting with a zero. We are starting with a zero quest. I've seen a few, right? If I look at the console, I've seen a few that are actually flagged as cultural, right? But I don't really know if I like them. They are, I mean, let me see. For example, there is one that is called Ask the Right Question and is called Ask the Right Question. Jonah asks you to find information on the carved gates of the Sarovya. That's interesting though. Yeah, this one could be a good one actually, because this quest is actually trying giving to the player some information and background on the gates in Oja. So who created them and why and things like that, right? So I think Braro is easier, but who the hell is this guy? Fucking rogue going around. Why the guards are not stopping these people? Huh? But anyway, these gates, right? These gates. These gates. So yeah, I think I need to think more about it, right? But I think that the idea is to identify where is this chicken going? Where is this chicken going? Huh? On top of that. They actually don't have a limit, so in theory they can go through the whole world because they are just randomly moving. They are just randomly moving around, you know, few meters, but if you give them enough time, they can reach any place in the world. Interesting. There is something invisible down there. Yeah, I think the race quest would be pretty cool. But again, guys, if we can do it a community task, I think it will work. If you wait me to develop all the race quest for all the races, I mean, it will take me like a year. So we need to do this together. There is no way, right? So we need to do this together as a community. I cannot develop, you know, 50 quests myself. I mean, I can develop 4, 5, but I cannot develop 50. So if you want to see this stuff, we have to do it together. For example, a player may be gather wood to ensure the flames at the Temple of Tala don't go out, and he's happy, but soon he will run out and the walls are reinforced. Yeah, exactly, Marcel. That could be the kind of tasks, right, that may give you access, or they may do something to area number 2. So, for example, if you light, yeah, like you're saying, like if you light the flames at all the temples in the cities at the same time with different players, right? Then maybe they will blast a wave of energy inside the labyrinths and clean like 20% of them, right? And maybe that's one piece of the puzzle, right? There's like one piece of the puzzle that maybe you learn through quest, right? And you then use to reach the 100% that you need to clean area number 2. But it has to be done by race. So what we need to do, we need to identify elements of the story and the places that we have in the world, which I mean, they are more and more, right? Because we are expanding sometimes the world, right? So we added like a new area of Ojaveda and such. So like the windmills, and so we have to put together these pieces and like these towers, you know, we can make them better and develop quests that are going in that direction, right? In the race direction. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Pretty good. Unfortunately, it's a bit time. It's time for dinner. Pretty much. It's kind of 8. So I don't know. But I think it was a good discussion. I mean, I didn't develop anything, but I developed a concept, right? An idea, and I think that's a good idea. I would like to share it maybe with other people in the dev team, but unfortunately the dev team these days is very, very sleepy. So we have some devs that are like on leave pretty much forever, right? Like we had Venelan, we had Zuna, we had Eonwind, we had Ravna, we had Mordan. But they are not active, right? They are not active. And so the problem is, how can we do all of this in such a short time and in the time that we have, right? But I would think about it. Is this wedding invitation there since forever? Bro, but always put a date. No, an in-game date. No, an in-game date is impossible because the time actually doesn't go forward. That freaking rogue is still going around, huh? That rogue is still going around. I don't know where he's going, but I don't trust this guy. I really don't trust this guy. And there is another one there. They are like working together, you see? This guy called you, and now they are like, no, I don't know him. Now I don't know him, huh? Now they are like saying, I don't know the guy, huh? But they were walking together. I saw them. I think they exchanged some stuff. Oh my god, there is a rat. This city needs to be cleaned. I failed to move. I'm sorry. Why you failed to move, my guy? You failed to move because this thing is too high. This is why you failed to move. That is why you failed to move. Okay, guys, I think I'm going. It was a good discussion. If you have any feedback or if you want to help and contribute, you know, there are all these quests to create, the background stories and everything. So it's not an easy job because it requires good knowledge of the existing game, but also a lot of creativity. And let me see. I imagine an experienced player arrives after logging in for a week and everything is decrepit and falling apart because he knows that he fixed it pretty quickly and teaches the player trick. Yes. Yes, I think we can have that in area number 2. Yes. Yes, I want that constant push, right? And now it would be very nice if the tribes, the NPC tribes, actually are contributing to this, right? Because if they are like building fortifications or they are building, you know, obstacles for the players, they will become even more challenging, right? Because the players will have to counter not only the environment but also the creatures and the buildings that the creatures have built. And so I think that is nice. Yeah, I have to think more about this, but I think that is the plan. Okay, guys, I think I'm going. So bye bye. See you tomorrow evening. I don't know if we will continue with this or we will do some technical stuff. I have to think about it. But anyway, I will be here tomorrow evening, 9:30 p.m. European time. Meanwhile, if you want to try our game is available. You can just click on download and play it. Also, if you want to become a Patreon or help us and do any donation or anything else, please do. We will use the money for commission, so we will have other people work on stuff. So usually it's anyway young people that are searching a job or looking for a job, so it's always good to give them money and make them work on stuff, right? So that's nice. Also, the last two that work with us, they were Ukrainian, so Ukrainian people that unfortunately lost their job in Ukraine due to the war and everything. And so I'm pretty happy that we employ them at least for a small part. I mean, not for much, but for a small part. Like all the maps that we have now in the game, all these maps, have been made on a commission by someone that is from Ukraine, right? So, which is nice. Okay. So, bye. 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 Bye bye.